I'm gonna go to a different place. Okay. You guys are both co-hosts, yeah? Or co-hosts? Yeah. Yep, you are both co-hosts. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good to see you all this week. Some people are still connecting to audio. There's Angelica. Johnny's audio is still coming in. Johnny, can you hear us? Hi, Grace. Yep, there you are, Johnny. Your audio is now working. Okay, terrific. All right, let's get started. Happy Monday, everyone. You are here for week 6, the TikTok challenge. We are so excited to see you. And we're going to start with a little survey. Tara's going to drop that in the chat window. As you know, this is a first for us. Make It Till You Make It. It's our first fall series. And we really want to make sure that what we're doing is leaving a measurable skills and mindsets improvement with you all. So take that literally 1.5 minute survey and we'll get started as soon as I start seeing some dones. Just drop done in the chat window when you're done. All right, Angelica, who's going over the finish line? Not that it's a race, ever. All right, Grace. Lauren. Lauren, nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. And I think I can see everyone except Angelica Avila. Angelica, are you there? Oh, you must be because you were the first to come over the finish line. Not a huge deal, but we like to keep our video on just so that we're establishing a community. So if you can, you're welcome. It doesn't always present itself between bandwidth constraints or where you are. Okay, we have Chris who's joined us. Welcome, Chris. All right, we have a sufficient number of dones. Okay, thanks. And Chris is a student, yes? Tara and Simeon? Chris, welcome. Tara's gonna drop the link to the survey in the chat window so you can take a look at that. It'll take literally 90 seconds to complete. We'd love it if you could do that. That would be very helpful. And thank you. Okay, so we're gonna get started. We are excited for this week. There's so many different technologies and platforms that are changing the way we communicate, and TikTok is one of them. And yes, TikTok's fate in the United States is yet to be determined. Will it go away? Will we be allowed to use it? Will we not? As judged by the pushed out deadline, I would say that it's probably here to stay for some time. And it actually should give you quite a bit of pause when you see an organization like NPR, National Public Radio, with properties like All Things Considered and NPR News and Planet Money, that the Planet Money team has content on TikTok. And you know, when something's so mainstream and so educational, right, uses a platform like TikTok to reach maybe current users, maybe new users, it should give you pause. And it should, it certainly should prompt you to want to know what is it that, what is it about TikTok that is resonating with people? What is it that makes it so viral? What is it that makes content really successful and effective? How do you design such content? And that's what we're doing here this week. Soon we will have a guest speaker who's actually done quite well on TikTok. But while we wait for him to get started, and he should be here in another 4 minutes or so, we are going to ask you to take yourselves off mute. It's a small enough group where we want to have a little chit chat. What do you know, and we asked you survey questions about whether you're users of TikTok, but what do you perceive to be interesting about the phenomenon of TikTok, and how do you see it as different from the platforms that you presently use? Who'd like to kick us off?
Can you hear me? Am I on here? I've had a TikTok account for probably a couple of years, but I never used it. And then I just started using it maybe, I don't know, some months ago. But I think it's great. I think that the stuff on there, I think there's a lot of comedy. I like the comedy stuff. And there's a lot of real creative users on there. You know, TikTok basically took over where Vine left off. If you remember Vine on Twitter.
Yes.
And I do have content on there, but it's nothing like what it should be, you know, like the other stuff that I see. But I just think there's a lot of really funny stuff on there, and that's one of the reasons I like it.
Cool. So what pretty much drove you to it was seeing widespread adoption, and you dabbled in it, and
yeah, I mean, I pretty much like repost. Actually, this is a good thing. On Instagram, okay, let's say I'm a musician myself, and so I've got music up on iTunes and all that stuff. And on Instagram, you can, in the stories feature, you can add commercial music. So since I have music that's commercially available, I can add it to my Instagram stories. But if I go to save that story, it saves without the music because it's commercial. But with TikTok, if you can do the same thing, but when you save that video, it saves it with the music burned into it. So I can then go and repurpose my TikTok video up to YouTube or Instagram itself. You know?
Good point. Good point. Definitely a different feature set. How about someone else?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting about TikTok is the algorithm. I personally don't use it because I think it's really addictive, and I'm cautious about things like that. But I think why it's so addictive is because of its insanely good algorithm. It just pumps out more content that's interesting to people, and that's why, you know, everyone likes it, because it's catered literally to you and what you want.
So what kinds of things do you listen to or look for on TikTok, Julina?
I don't use TikTok.
Ah,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
But really good point. Something about their algorithm definitely hones in on what it is you linger on, and they'll give you as much of it as you can handle until you realize you've been on it for a few hours.
Yeah, that's why I don't use it.
And one last comment from anyone else in the group, and then we will introduce our speaker.
I can say something.
Yeah.
So I like how TikTok, how you don't have to follow everybody that you see. So you can be scrolling and you'll see a whole bunch of different people that you've never seen before. I find that really cool. I watch a lot of like the drawing TikToks and like small businesses on there.
Neat. So the fact that it's so discoverable. You can really like come across a lot of interesting things. And then it sounds to me like you've really honed in on the things that you love. In fact, wasn't it you that taught someone how to draw a dog in one of your classes? Pretty awesome. Great, thanks for sharing, Grace. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Tara, who will introduce our speaker.
Hey guys, so today a local Milwaukee friend of mine, JMatt, is here. I would consider him a TikTok pro. So I'm super excited to pass the mic to him for him to kind of teach us more about TikTok, hot tips, answer any questions, and help us with today's challenge. So JMatt, all you.
All right, cool. I'm unmuted. Hey, thanks for inviting me and having me be a part of this. I do have a presentation kind of planned, even though I know a lot of this is on your app, so it's kind of hard to look at a presentation, but I figured I'd do a mixture of the both. I don't know how to share my phone screen, but I'm JMatt. I have been creating TikToks for probably 1.5 years now. And I would say the first year that I created really ran the gambit of just trying to create anything and everything that I was interested in and learning the different effects and the layout and timers and all the sort of things that TikTok can offer without having a niche. Over the summer and the pandemic, I stumbled upon a niche that I truly wasn't intending to do it. It just kind of happened. And now I have a niche, which I do all Milwaukee-based content. And before the pandemic hit, I had 30,000 followers. And now I'm up to 108,000 followers. So it really grew fast for me. And it was just after I kind of defined my niche. It worked out really well. I was on a boat with a friend who wanted to check out the Milwaukee Pirate Barge. And I think that just uniqueness of everything that came together for the adventure of getting to it and the concept of a pirate barge just intrigued so many people. And I got 50,000 followers from that video alone. So that being said, I think TikTok is truly a unique platform where anyone can grow and your next TikTok can literally go viral. And though you shouldn't plan for viral content, it is much more likely for you to go viral on TikTok than any other platform. Yeah. Feel free to ask questions, by the way, as we go. I'm going to tap share screen.
Yeah, we made you a co-host so you can share. But as you share screen, I'm going to ask you a quick question. I noticed that you've been sharing for quite some time. How many months in would you say did that viral one really hit? Because the numbers on your original ones, they're pretty high too. And I imagine that once you went viral, people started watching the stuff that you made beforehand.
Yeah, it's tricky. So that one went viral during the pandemic. So I think we had a lot more active users that were paying attention to TikTok now than that weren't before. When I first started doing TikToks, I worked for a radio station at the time. I was a top 40 radio host, and I was playing around with the app, and I knew it was central around younger kids and teens. And I was like, well, a lot of kids like puzzles and figuring out if they can solve the riddle. But a lot of the people that were currently creating those puzzles on TikTok, and this is like over 1.5 years ago, by the way, a lot of those people were creating those puzzles, but not showing their face. They were writing it out and showing that they didn't have that confidence, which is totally fine. So what I did is I put my face on the screen, and I had a whiteboard that I would put the problem on, and I would show it to them. I was on screen, they were able to get to know me, but also solve the riddle, and I wouldn't answer it in the puzzle. So I had already figured out a niche. The only thing is with that is you kept getting the same notification of the same answer or the troll answer, and I just didn't enjoy that, so I didn't stay with it. But I had several videos of those hit 1 million views, if not more. So I've had a couple go viral, and at the time when I was doing the specific puzzle content, I was getting 4,000 new followers a week, which is great, which is huge on any platform by any means. But compared to the success I've had over the last summer, I've been getting, I think I got 1,000 followers in the last 24 hours. Wow. So when you find your niche, and I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do by any means, it is definitely difficult to figure out what your niche is, because there's so many niches out there. I think when I joined, I heard somebody talking about somebody drawing and sketching. There's a lot of artists out there. There's a lot of even more dancers. There's even more lip syncers. There's comedy skits. There's all that sort of stuff. So it's just kind of figuring out, what is my personal brand? What do I want to be known for? And if nothing else, what do I want to experiment with on the app? And you can always evolve and change your niche as you go.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so kind of as the focus for today's, lack of a better word, training, I'm going to cover some statistics. We're going to talk about leveraging analytics and some extra TikTok programs that you may have heard of, so you can get a little information about that. We're going to talk about growth and hashtags, kind of went into it already with the niches. We're going to talk about creating your TikTok, which is going to be more of a verbal thing, and hopefully you have the app of TikTok that you can look at. Otherwise, I'll try to kind of narrate and figure out that for you. And then after you create your TikTok, I'm going to explain some best practices for sharing that TikTok to an audience beyond TikTok, and then any questions that you have. So the statistics I pulled from Influencer Marketing Hub, and what's nice about them is they had 50 statistics worth looking at for TikTok, which they pulled from all places on the internet as well. So while it is Influencer Marketing Hub, it might also be like Hootsuite or HubSpot or wherever else. So on average, there's 800 million active users worldwide. I think this is a monthly statistic. 9 out of 10 TikTok users use the app multiple times daily. I am one of those 9. 25.8% of US users are aged between 18 and 24. And of those surveyed, 49% of the teenagers claim to have used TikTok. So it does skew to be a younger audience traditionally on TikTok. And from other studies that I've done for, I'm the digital marketing strategist for Cardinal Stritch University in Milwaukee. For some of the reports that I've given our team there, we've learned that there's a large portion of Gen Z that is not accessible by television ads. And there's a large portion of them that are on TikTok and really no other social platforms. So if you're a marketer trying to reach Gen Z, TikTok is one of those places you kind of have to consider for your brand to be on. And by the way, if you want me to send this to Tara, I can send it to her and she can send this information out. So you don't have to worry about scribbling all this down really fast. I know it's a lot of information. It is used by 2 million more women than men in the United States. Non-binary information is not available for this information, but that is a huge amount of people. So even at a base level, when you're thinking, who could I talk to on TikTok? If you skew your content to talk to the female more than the male a little bit, you might have a better response. In my own analytics, I think I skew 60% women to 40% males. The highest average engagement rates per post. This is in reference that on TikTok, you're gonna have higher engagement than you will on Instagram, than you will on Twitter, especially in the idea of like a new user. If you're saying, okay, I'm gonna post something and I'm hoping to get some engagement, some views, TikTok is your best place for that, assuming your audience is there. But when you break down the follower count, if you have under 1,000 followers, you average 9.38% engagement rate. So it's like those that like and comment and share and just overall engage with your post, that percentage of your audience, that overall less than 1,000 is engaging with you. Which, when you take it to like Facebook, for example, I'm pretty sure that number is more around 5%. It's much lower, it's harder. And then if you go as far as 100,000 plus followers, you're looking at a 5.3% engagement rate, which is what, 5,000 people? So on an average, if you get 5,000 views on a TikTok, that's great for someone that has over 100,000 views, which sounds discouraging when you think you have this huge platform, this huge audience base, but you can't reach all of them. You can't reach all of your audience no matter what platform you're on. But when you compare it to like Instagram, which has 1.1%, or Twitter, which is 0.3%, it's pretty good comparatively. For the analytics and extra programs, now I'm kind of going to shift into, okay, you are starting on TikTok, you're creating content. Maybe you've never created an account before and you're brand new, and maybe you have one that you haven't considered some of these things. One is your analytics. Some have said, oh, if you turn on the pro account and stuff, it hinders your account, which is a good theory for like Instagram and such, but TikTok really wants their creators to shine and perform well on the app. So knowledge is power. And you can create a pro account, one of two variations. You can either create a business account, which if you are representing a business makes sense, or for your case, you're probably going to want to set up a creator account. And what's nice about that is now you're going to unlock your analytics. If you set it up today, it's going to take about 24 to 48 hours for it to refresh and to give you that information. So just be a little patient if it doesn't load right away. In the settings, you're going to see, you'll see like creator. So you tap on that. And then you'll see analytics, tap on that. And then it'll break down into 3 different columns of overview, content, followers. And this is going to give you insights as to how your content is performing and your overall users and your followers. And this will give you that information when you're trying to plan future content, what's working, what's not. And even content that you posted several weeks ago, if one of them's suddenly getting a lot of action and views, it's going to pop up as your most recent content that's performing well. There are also analytics available for your specific posts, and that you see on your post. You tap that 3 circle or 3 dot icon in the bottom right where you normally would share. You'll see in the bottom left-hand corner something called analytics, which at that point you can then look at information on engagement, watch time, traffic source, and audience territories. So basically, you can see how many people have shared your video. You can see what the average watch time is for your video. You can see, are they coming from the For You page? Are they coming from your following page? Are they coming specifically from your profile? And then you can see what your territories are. Unfortunately, it doesn't break it down by state. It's literally just going to say United States, India. Well, India's banned, so maybe not that. The UK, Canada. So if you realize that you have a large audience watching you from Canada, maybe tailor some of your content towards a Canadian or something like that. But just some information that'll help you as you grow your account and consider the content you want to create. As for the TikTok Creator Fund, you may have heard about this over the last month or two. TikTok is encouraging people to join the app and want to get you on a creator fund. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. So in order to be a part of the TikTok Creator Fund, you have to be at least 18 years of age, 10,000 plus followers, and 10,000 video views in the last 30 days. All of which, once you get to about 10,000 followers, getting 10,000 views isn't that big of a hurdle. That initial 10,000 is a little tricky. So that's where you really want to focus that time to figure out your niche and your followers and figure out what works for you. Because then once you get in and you're accepted, you get paid by the view. So typically you're looking at 2 cents per 1,000 views. It's not a lot of money, but if you're doing well and you're growing original content, you can make a decent amount of money. If you take that math and you take it to like Charli D'Amelio or Bella, you'll see very quickly they're making thousands of dollars per post. One thing to keep in mind with this is many people that are averaging under 100,000 views per TikTok, which is a huge number. Under that threshold, a lot of people are reporting that their views have gone down, that it has limited their access to the For You page. Some like to throw around the phrase shadow banning. There is a little bit of truth to this in that once you get paid by TikTok for the content that you're creating, you have to 100% own what you're putting out there, because TikTok no longer wants to pay you for doing a choreography to Doja Cat, no longer wants to pay you for doing a dance to The Weeknd or anything like that, because you don't own that song. You're just doing your interpretation of a trend. So that's where it really starts limiting you. You can get around this by doing skits and comedy and whatever your niche is, or using royalty-free music, but that's for a whole nother discussion. But that's something to kind of keep in mind if you want to consider the Creator Fund. If you are growing fast and you're getting a good amount of views, then joining the Creator Fund might not be a good option for you. And then finally, there's something called the TikTok Creator Marketplace. This is for 18-year-olds and up. You have to have 100,000 plus followers. And this one is a little trickier. You have to get 100,000 likes within the last recent 28 days. That is something that I'm tracking personally because I'm not sure if it's realistic or not, but if you're creating content that is regularly getting 10,000 views or more, you should be able to get to 100,000 likes within 28 days. And the reason why these stipulations are there is because the TikTok Creator Marketplace matches creators with brands, and the brands are going to be looking at that information and determining if they want to provide you a free product or pay you to do a TikTok in collaboration. So that's kind of the sort of tiers of TikTok that you have to look forward to. And I think there's TikTok partnership. I have no idea how to get into that. I assume that's around 1 million, but that's another thing. So now talking about growth and hashtags, if you're trying to figure out how to grow your account, find your niche as we've kind of gone over. Anything from dancing, skits, comedy, how-to videos, all kind of work out well. Post consistently. Unlike many other platforms, you aren't penalized for posting frequently within a single day. So I know people that will, when they're new and they don't have much else going on, it's a pandemic, you're a student, you could theoretically get away with posting 4, 5, 10 times a day. If that's a frequency that you have the capacity for, cool, go for it. I've never done it. I've only had the capacity at most to post twice a day, and that was morning and night. Currently, I am just posting once a day. And I know for my audience, and this is where the analytics come in, I know my audience typically will be on at the highest amount of users at around 7 or 8 p.m. at night. So my goal is to post my TikTok by 6 p.m. so that when they start logging on and using TikTok, I have a better chance of my audience seeing it, engaging with it, and then being served up on the For You page even more. The more you post, better chance. Replying to every comment is another big thing. Is people that are taking the time to reply to your content and post something would love to hear from you. And you'll see often that people are like, oh, it would be cool if the creator responded. Oh, you'll never respond. It's basically a spammy comment that a lot of the younger TikTokers use. But if you respond to that, they get really excited, and then they often follow you if they haven't already. Just kind of getting into this flow and this rhythm. Every time you get a new comment, you'll get a notification, whether you have it on or not. But when you go in the notifications field, what I do is I'll tap on that comment, I'll respond, I'll go back to the notifications, and I'll clear it out just to make it easier for me to manage what I've actually responded to and what I still have to get to. Hashtags are another way to help you grow. You can check the discovery page to see what is currently trending on the app. And I'm always cautious about using those hashtags. I know they're trending, and to use them helps you get onto those trending hashtags. But if you only rely on the hashtags that have, let's say 500 million uses or 1 billion uses, the likelihood of you actually being discovered for that hashtag is somewhat low. Just like using hashtag FYP, hashtag For You page, you see it done all the time. To me, it's the most annoying thing because that is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you use those hashtags or if you use hashtags at all. If you don't put anything in the caption, everyone makes it to the For You page. It then comes down to the quality of your content as to whether the person watching it decides this is good or not. So if you see something on the For You page that has 0 likes, 0 engagement, it's a brand new TikTok, and it's up to you to decide whether or not it's good. If you skip it, well, then you got a couple more people to try to boost that. And if enough people don't really engage with it, it just gets removed from the For You page. If you'll notice on the For You page occasionally, you'll see some that have no hashtags, have no caption. That is just more to that point that it really comes down to the content that you're putting out there. And you'll also see on the For You page occasionally bigger creators talking about how they're not being seen. They still have to create good content, just like the new user. So at the end of the day, content is the win. It's not so much the hashtags. And then for those hashtags that you do decide to use, the more specific you can make them to your content that you're posting, like any other platform, the more you're telling the algorithm what is related to this post. And so if you're trying to become a niche specifically around, let's say, cooking videos, then you should want to have hashtags around cooking so you further tell the algorithm to serve you up to people that have been engaging and liking with cooking sort of TikToks. So here's, I have another screen that I'll go to that has a couple screenshots to kind of give you an overlay of what some of these screens look like. But just generally, when creating a TikTok, you can either create a from a sound that you find on the For You page. So if you hear somebody lip syncing or dancing to somebody's song, you can on the bottom tap that song. It'll pop up and show you everything that is being created with that sound. And then you can create a TikTok to that sound. Or you can just hit the plus icon at the bottom of your screen when you're at your For You page, and that'll bring you up a blank slate to kind of create your own TikTok from. You can either upload a video from your camera roll or make 100% off of the app. And you can't do a mixture of both currently, which is my frustration over the last year and a half. So for me, I learned that there is an app that is pretty accommodating to TikTok in the sense that you can do vertical edited videos. I know if you have an iPhone, you've got iMovie, but unfortunately, as of what I've learned recently, or as I've used it, it only allows for horizontal edits. So that doesn't really help. If you use this app called Perfect Video, has a very generic name, has a very generic vibe, but it is legitimate. It's a little purple icon. It's on the iPhone. I don't think it's in Android, but there is a one-time fee of $4.99 if you want to remove the Perfect Video watermark off of it. I've used it for probably 2 years now, and it really works out well for a lot of features. I think it's easy to use, but there's so many options out there, and there's apps that are promoted on TikTok too. So if you're looking for an idea to use, you can use Perfect Video for free and then consider removing that watermark for a one-time fee. Otherwise, if you have an effect that you are seeing people use, I know there's like the augmented reality where it takes your face and makes it look like a unicorn, or it's the line that comes on down that people are using a lot. Those effects can only be used on the app. So you can't upload a video and have it kind of make the effect on it afterwards. So that's something to keep in mind. And then the default setting is for allowing people to create videos up to 15 seconds. So if you don't know how long you want your video to be, make sure you select 60 seconds. I've done it even up to recently where I've tried to record something and then the 15-second run out, and then you're like, oh no, I needed more time. And then you have to redo it. And then you can adjust the speed of a sound to slow it down or speed it up. And this makes it easier if you are trying to learn a dance and you haven't quite nailed it, or if you're trying to lip sync, but you can't quite get the match down. You can slow it down by twice speed and then record it at a slower speed. And then when it plays back, it'll actually play at the regular speed and look good. So if you are gonna slow down a video, make yourself aware that any movement you do is going to be sped up afterwards too. So you're going to have to slow yourself down as well as what you're trying to lip sync and what you're trying to do. You can use a timer when you're creating on the app as well. And we'll get to that screen in a second. But basically, this allows you to have either a 3-second or a 10-second countdown. So if you need to set up the camera here and then you want to shoot back here, you don't have to worry about holding it or whatever that happens to be. Also, if it's a song or you have transitions that you want to do within the app, in the timer function, you can also drag this little marker to where you want this first clip to stop and then record it and then keep adjusting that timer, which really helps you out. And then after you've created all of your videos, you can then go in and adjust the clips so that if, let's say you have a costume change or you just have a change that you want to do, you could record everything in one outfit and then go back and then redo the ones that have a new outfit. That is a newer workaround that a lot of the creators that do skits have been doing. All right, so here's some just general layouts of what your screen might look like. Starting from the far left on your screen, this is what's gonna pop up when you just create your initial TikTok. Granted, it's gonna show as a video. I just took a blank picture of this to make it easier. And as you notice at the bottom, its default is 15 seconds. So you have 60 seconds. There are some templates which work for like photos when you're trying to do the glow up and all that sort of stuff. And then on the far right, you'll see live, which I think is either enabled at 1,000 or 10,000. Don't quote me, but there's a certain threshold you have to hit before you can use the live. On the bottom right, it shows upload. So that's where you're going to be able to take any video content that you created off the app and put it there. And then on the left is effects, and that's where you're going to find that blue line effect, the unicorn one that I mentioned, and so many other ones. If you see somebody do an effect that you like on the For You page or the following page, you can select that effect specifically and make it a favorite to make it easier for you to find later. So then if we're looking here, you can flip the camera, you can adjust that speed as we talked about for slowing down the sound. They've got a beauty filter, they've got filters, and then you've got your timer, and if you need a flash. So that's just kind of the layout here. If you go in here without selecting the sound first, and you want to use a sound, at the top you'll notice sounds. If you tap on that, it's going to bring up all the options that you have. And if you favorited sounds, there's going to be a tab for that as well to make it easier for you. Then let's say you've shot all you're going to shoot on this far left here, and you've decided, okay, now I'm ready to start editing it. So it's going to come into this thing that says 125 in the top left-hand corner. You're going to see sounds at the bottom left-hand corner. If you haven't already selected your sound, this is a great spot to add background noise if you'd like. Otherwise, you can just leave the sounds completely off. If you tap on sounds, though, it'll bring up volume as well. And you're going to have two options. The original audio, this is great for uploading a video off the app, and then your sound that you select. So you could mute the sound, you could play around with it, but that's an area where you adjust the volume. The effects are more or less like transitional buzzing, just like after everything's shot kind of effects, which are different from the augmented reality effects on that first slide. Text, I'm going to cover this on that third screenshot. And then there's stickers that you can add, just like any other platform. Filters is another after the fact that you could add to make it brighter, more visually appealing. This is where you also can adjust those clips for those that are doing skits or really transitions that you want to clean up. Voice effects is where you can, after you've recorded, and this is another thing that has to be done from videos that you create on the app, not so much what you upload onto the app, unfortunately. So if you're trying to do a trend that requires a different style of an effect, this is where you would set it. And then I do a lot of voiceovers myself on my content, and this is where you can do it from. It's a little annoying in the sense that if you are recording right up to the last second of your video, sometimes when you post it, it will overlay on itself. It's happened very few to me, but like it is a thing. So now whenever I do voiceovers, I actually use Perfect Video, and I just make sure everything's clean there before I try the app, because it's just frustrating when you put all the time in and then there's a mistake after you posted and then you have to go in and fix it. So then let's say you're adding text. So the best practice I've learned is, rather than putting out your initial text and then setting the duration and then going back and then doing the next one, is to figure out everything you want to be on the screen and write it out in its individual text. As you can see, I've done 3 options here. When you tap on one of the text options, you're going to pop up with set duration or edit. In edit, you can go in, you can fix spelling errors, you can add these color highlights around it, whatever you want. But then when you select duration, it's going to allow you to put it on the screen for 3 seconds, 2 seconds, at a minimum of 1 second. And you can drag and place it on the video as to where you want it to live. If you want it to be at the top and you want the next text to be right behind it, but at its own time, you can drag the next one above the text that you've already featured and then adjust the timer so it appears after it. And then that way everything kind of lines up well. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. It's come a long way for sure. And you can have multiple text options on the screen at one time. You can eliminate, but basically set duration is where you get to modify the text on the TikTok specifically. So after you've figured out what you want it to look like and present it as, then you hit next, and you're going to come up with this fourth and final screenshot here, which allows you to write in the caption. They had expanded the character count beyond 150 characters at one point. I think they're back down to 150 characters, but ultimately the shorter you can go, the better. I try not to put more than 3 hashtags in at a time. And I try to keep it specific to what I'm doing. And then everything is auto set to like allow all these things. You shouldn't have to uncheck any of these for any reason. Before you post, you'll notice it says select cover in that black kind of rectangle up in the top right-hand corner. You want to select a cover that allows a good thumbnail to live on your profile. 2 things that this will allow you to do. It'll allow you to do this little half-second animation, but it'll also allow you to put text on it as part of your thumbnail, and you want to use that as context as to what your TikTok is. So if someone sees you on the For You page and wants to go to your profile to see like when it was published, or if it's part of a series, you could say cooking eggs part 1, cooking eggs part 2. And then that way that person is going to be able to come, they saw it part 1 on the For You page, but now they got to find part 2. You're making it easier for people to find your content and really easily. And then finally, if you save this as a drafts in the bottom left-hand corner, it'll allow you to basically pre-create your content. Or if you have multiple versions, so like you're doing a lip sync and you're like, I don't know if that was great, get to this page, hit as a draft, start all over again, and then you'll have a couple different TikToks to choose from to figure out, okay, which one of these versions is actually the best without having to lose it all together. So the drafts comes in really handy. I probably have 2 or 3 drafts at any given time. I know people that have 1,000 drafts. So it really comes down to the individual and their preference for using the app. But when you go into your drafts and you're trying to figure out what it looks like without having to hit the top left arrow and going all the way back to these screens, you can go where it says select cover and not tap the bottom of it. If you tap towards the top of it, it'll play that TikTok for whatever you built it to look like. So that's the quickest way to quickly view your content. So let's say we've written out your post, your caption, everything looks great. You're ready to post. You tap post on the bottom right-hand corner, and now you're ready to share. So it's going to land on the For You page. Everything lands on the For You page. But if you want to help boost your potential, at the bottom right-hand corner of your TikTok, you'll see the 3 dots. If you tap on that, that's kind of the share icon and other features. You'll be able to select text, which is, or SMS. I prefer to do this. I will always text myself the TikTok because that is one text, that's one share. It's the easiest way to do it. And I haven't seen any negative repercussions for texting it to myself. Then I will also text it. So like if I'm a part of an organization and my boss and a couple coworkers want to see it, I'm going to send it as a group chat. I'm going to send it individually as individual text to each person because that's another share. And then beyond the actual texting is copy the link. And I don't know if this works, if you can copy the link and it counts as a share or not, but I just out of habit will copy the link each time I plan to share it. That's an easy way to go about that. And then you can save it as the creator. You'll have the option to save the video. Most likely auto puts it onto your camera roll. If you go into your camera roll, you take that video and then let's say it's a 15-second video. You can then chop it up to the first 5 seconds. I've seen TikTokers that are verified do this, so it obviously works for them. And they will do a little tease on their story. They'll put it on Instagram and say, oh, watch the rest of it on TikTok, or I have a new TikTok posted. Just another way for more of your audiences from other platforms to see your stuff. I would caution you from posting it to like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram as a post or Instagram Reels if you're using songs from TikTok, because you don't own that sound. That sound can only then live on TikTok. You can't take it and repurpose it somewhere else. You can theoretically do it, but if Facebook or Instagram hears the song, knows you don't own it, they can flag your content and they can remove it, and you don't want that. Additionally, if you have any TikToks that you post and it's not performing well, or you no longer want it up for whatever reason, don't delete it. Mark it as private, because if TikTok sees that you're deleting a lot of TikToks, it's gonna kind of hurt you with the algorithm. It doesn't want you deleting your content. It wants you creating content. Additionally, try to limit how much you private your videos, because that's another thing that you're like hiding content from the public. So if you get into that situation where you're like, uh-oh, I need to remove this, just make it private. It's better than deleting it. And then I think that is all that I had pre-planned. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, that's my contact information. You can always, if you're uncomfortable asking in this sort of format, you can always shoot me a DM. Pretty much Instagram is the easier one because I don't have notifications turned on for Instagram or for TikTok because it would be too much, or you can shoot me an email. So thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Yeah, if you guys have questions, feel free to just unmute yourself, or you can drop it in the chat too. We can do it that way.
Yeah, so you talked about how viral content can get on TikTok, but what do you think about the transferability into other platforms? Like, you know, you have 100,000 followers on TikTok. How easy is it, or
Yeah.
how can you transfer it over to, you know, somewhere else?
It depends. You're not gonna see a huge crossover. I have in my bio, I've got Instagram and YouTube. I don't really do much with YouTube, but I have it there. My thing is the content I create for TikTok, for me personally, is very specific to TikTok. I'm not trying to recreate this audience anywhere else, really. So when people tap on the link to find my Instagram and realize that I'm a mental health advocate on Instagram, they may suddenly be like, this isn't the same guy from TikTok, or at least not the same content. I'm not interested. I do get some people to follow me, but that's not necessarily my goal. But for those that I do see that want people to follow their Instagram or their YouTube, they will use TikTok as a platform to show a 60-second highlight from their YouTube video. And they'll say, for the full video, go tap the link in my bio, check it out on YouTube. Or they'll say, if I can get my Instagram account up to the next 1,000 followers, or like 25,000 followers, or whatever their threshold is, then I'm going to reveal X on TikTok. Or they actively market it towards getting people to follow. It's not my strategy, but it certainly works for some. And when there was the scare of, oh no, is TikTok getting banned? Which technically is still out in the open. They're not really sure if it's going to happen or not. We got to wait until like mid-November at this point. I don't think it's going to go away, but it could. And you've got plenty of TikTokers that are encouraging them, their audience, to find them on other platforms and follow them wherever else they can be found. There we go. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, go for it.
Okay, so my question is, you know, we have all different kinds of folks on the line, as well as in our community at large. Some people who are super extroverted and some people who are super introverted. TikTok seems to be like a really great platform for the person who's extroverted and wants to be out in front of the camera. And then there's everyone else who may have to design or advise or produce a TikTok. What would you advise to someone just getting started and, you know, might be pushing themselves out of their comfort zone this week in designing a TikTok, in harnessing their own abilities and or designing and producing something that involves other people, or not even, you know, is a face actually definitely required?
Face isn't required. Not that I try to get self-conscious about this, but the voiceovers that I do I have one that's got like 30,000 within the last 24 hours, doesn't have my face in it. So some of the TikToks that I create that have my voiceover on it, at least, perform better than sometimes when I have my face on it. So yeah, I try not to be self-conscious about that fact, but it totally works. You just kind of play around and see what works for you. I used to be in radio, so me using my voice only totally works for my style of content. And some people might be self-conscious about their voice. They don't like how it sounds. I get it. I hear it all the time. So if you don't want to put a voiceover on, you don't have to use a voiceover. If you are self-conscious about being on camera, you don't have to put yourself on camera. There are plenty of artists out there that just do sketches and show off their stuff, and they'll add text on it to kind of be their voice. So you could start out small with putting the overlaying text, or showing what you want to show, whether it's through your own creation or you out in your city, or just whatever it happens to be, you could do that. If you're a little bit more interested in trying to see, can I put my face in it? Go for it. It's just you becoming comfortable with yourself and defining what you want your personal brand to be. And the nice thing about your personal brand is it's yours. So it can be anything you want it to be. I've been coaching a guy over the summer who's a friend of mine who considers himself an introvert, and he very much so is one. So he literally found his niche of creating skits around introverts and what introverts tend to do and what the various types of introverts are. But he does put his face on the camera and he does the audio for himself. So he's very aware and he's self-conscious about a lot of things, but he still puts himself out there because he enjoys it. So at the end of the day, create content you enjoy regardless what it looks like.
Great, thank you. I have another question.
Okay.
What do you see, so we see a lot of content creators and people who are becoming sort of like the next generation YouTubers, except on this new platform, right?
Yeah.
What about organizations that are beginning to use this? I gave the students an example of NPR and Planet Money being on TikTok.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? So who else? How quickly are they growing? What's driving this? And how might the students differentiate themselves as new hires who know the ins and outs of TikTok to those organizations who are being mindful that TikTok is the next frontier for them?
Yeah, and to answer your question, but also mention that, yes, TikTok still theoretically could get banned. Even if you become a pro at it now, there's going to be competition that comes in and replaces it. Right now, there's Instagram Reels. There's YouTube Shorts in India right now with the intention to eventually come to the US, but they want to make it cleaner before they do. So the knowledge that you gain from TikTok, you can apply to other platforms that will exist in the future. But to answer your question for brands being on TikTok specifically, I have Cardinal Search University on TikTok. It has not gotten to the point yet where I'm like, everybody go check this out, but it's a new account and we are slowly growing. We're figuring out what content works. We're coming up with ideas because we want to be relatable. We want to be where Gen Z is, and Gen Z, we want them to enroll in the university. So for a university, it's very important to be on. I used to work for 103.7 Kiss FM in Milwaukee, and I got them on it. And before I left because of the COVID, I got that account to 1,000 followers, and we were engaging with our listeners. One account that, in my opinion, has no right to be on TikTok, but does phenomenally, is the Washington Post. It's a newspaper, but it is on TikTok and it kills it. There's a guy that literally his job is to create TikTok content. I'm sure he's got other stuff, but publicly that's his job title, TikTok creator. And he puts out a new TikTok at least once a day, if not more frequently. So imagine if you could get a job somewhere where 8 hours a day, all your job was to create good TikToks, you would be phenomenal at it. So I think there's value in being there. This is kind of tricky now where TikTok used to just have a pro account in the back end where everybody was a pro. Now it's creator versus business. And if you set up a business account, which I learned through setting up with the university, is you are limited very much so with the sounds that you can use. Because now you're saying to TikTok, I'm a business. And theoretically, though you're creating content for the average user that's not directly an ad, since you're a business, anybody that watches your content and then goes to your website and either applies or purchases something becomes a client or a paid sort of business. So theoretically, while it's not an ad, every single TikTok you create is kind of an ad. So you have to be very careful what you choose in the back end. I have switched it to creator because I would not be able to use TikTok flat out. There's no way I would be able to create competitive content. And that's kind of what the Washington Post kind of got at when that change happened. And they said, we need creators that will allow us to use their music on our content, because now this stipulation has been added and they remained a business. It's possible to do, it's just harder. So just kind of keep that in mind when you choose to create a TikTok account, or just really any business account that you're representing. You're going to have more limitations to what you can do when you put your brand on there, but your brand needs to be there.
Great. Thank you so much. This is very helpful. And also it goes at the, the why students should even focus on TikTok. They may or may not be users, but there's some relevance to their potential careers. And we're excited to introduce to them the challenge. We're at 4:00, but we are still going to take a couple of minutes. Simeon, can you introduce the challenge to students, please? And wait a second, before I do, big round of applause for JMAT.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been so informative.
Awesome.
All right, Simeon, take it away.
All right, great. Thanks again, JMAT, for presenting on this. And now we're going to go to the challenge. Can everyone see that good? Oh, it's still loading. Sorry.
Says it's loading.
Perfect. All right, great.
Yep.
So based off of what we had today, so we're going to have you guys, of course, create TikToks. And the first thing that we want you to do is build off of what you did previously. Now, if you had a Spotify challenge, if you did the Spotify challenge or the challenge last week, we want you to still think within that mindset of creating educational content. But this time the focus is going to be obviously through TikTok. We want you to create videos in a way that grabs attention. So like JMatt said, the tips and tricks that he gave out, we want you to be able to create videos, short videos or 60-minute videos of something that is applicable to your major or your career interest. And these, it doesn't have to necessarily be in the format of teaching someone. It could be format of something of a new topic or interesting topic. So for example, if you're a history major or if you're a PT major, right, and you like to work out, you can do a 30 seconds video of stretches that might be helpful. Creative ideas, new ideas that simply can put you into the spotlight of just saying, hey, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I'm learning, and this is how it can be applied to you as a student or just somebody who's interested on TikTok. And you can probably test to it that it's not many educational or informative topics up on TikTok, depending on what area that you go into. So this would be really good, especially from a student's perspective, to go out there and say something like that. So we want a minimum of possibly one per day. I know it's really hard, specifically because it's like, midterms week and things like that. But we want you to make sure that you're able to put out a series of videos that you can sort of showcase as things that are part of your major. And of course, using the hashtag Make It Till You Make It.
Great. And I'll just add to that and say, it's approximately one a day. We want to urge you not to just make one 60-second video and be happy with it. As it's called Make It Until You Make It because we know that you attain mastery as you do it over and over again. Just like JMatt hit upon an artery of a niche that really made it for him. And we're not saying that that's going to happen for you in a week, but you are going to acquire competence in this area once you do it multiple times. So we'd like to encourage you to do once a day, if at all possible. If it's 4, you're still in. So try to do one a day. And as Simeon had said, build on what you did in the past. Drive traffic to your Anchor podcast. Drive traffic to your course if you taught a class, and a number of you did last week. And also, in terms of your Anchor podcast, Tara has some news about your podcast. Tara, do you want to share that news now?
Sure. Yeah, so for those of you who submitted a podcast, we've been uploading them to our Anchor page, which I'll share with you guys in the email you get after this. we're uploading them as is for now, and then as we continue and progress, we'll be adding in some like intro and closing, some quick edits to more polish your guys' podcast. But then we're going to get those all uploaded so that you can use your TikToks to point to the podcast as well and have them feed off of each other.
If that's what you'd like to do. If instead you want to run with the teaching of like drawing or music or a dance art form, it's really, we don't want to limit your creative freedom here, but we do want you to build upon whatever success you have acquired throughout these challenges. And then the last thing I'll say, so does anyone have any quick questions on the TikTok challenge itself? Okay, great. So the last thing I'll say is that Tara has an announcement for a Wednesday series in preparation for the career fair, career day that we're going to provide you. Tara.
Yeah, so starting the first Wednesday of November, every Wednesday we'll be hosting a session to kind of prep you for any future career or gaining a career. So whether that's resume reviews and tips, LinkedIn, mining LinkedIn, or any other social media, and then interviewing and stuff like that. So each Wednesday will be a new topic and a new lesson plan. And we'll be hosting that every Wednesday in preparation for the career day so that we can help you guys get the jobs that you really love and really want.
Yeah, we last week we attended an HBCU conference and met with the Verizon careers person. By the way, Verizon owns Huffington Post, Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Sports, all these different properties. And they have 1,000 jobs for college students just on verizon.com/campuses. I spoke with her directly about what they are looking for. We have that advice to give to you. So come to these sessions. Our goal is to have you pick 5 dream jobs and then coach you and network your way to those people who can be closest to bringing the resume that's handcrafted for that job directly to the person who's doing the hiring. That would be the dream way to support you as we round and finish off this challenge, is to help you secure the job of your dreams. So that is our goal. And so thank you, Tara, for leading that series. What time is that on Wednesdays in November?
It'll be from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. So 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific. I believe that's the
Terrific. That's
there.
4 to 5 p.m. Eastern or Central?
Eastern.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. And apologies for going a little bit over, but thank you for staying. And we're excited for the challenge this week.
Yeah. Thanks, JMAT.
Thank you, JMAT.
We'll see you guys soon.